You're watching Tim Topham TV, the piano teaching podcast. This is episode number 47. Hi everyone, and thanks for watching this episode of Tim Topham TV. It's great to have you along for today's show, and we're going to do something a little bit different today because my guests aren't piano teachers. In fact, they're not even adults yet. My guests today are teen music entrepreneurs, Finlay and Tom, and you're going to meet these guys in just a moment. But I thought I should probably set the scene of why I'm doing something a little bit different for this episode. And it all comes down to a keynote speech that I've been giving in a couple of states of Australia recently about entrepreneurship and the opportunities available to students, particularly music students, through online business innovation. And unfortunately, in my opinion, a lot of music education particularly at the tertiary level, the university level, is still very much stuck in the old conservatory model of creating classical musicians. The problem with that is that there aren't many classical music positions available around the world for performers. And as much as most of us realize that, universities are still really working very hard to create these amazing performers, and I can't fault them for that, but not giving them the opportunities to really develop the skills they need to create a business for themselves later in life. And so my talk is very much, the talk that I was giving at these conferences was very much about the opportunities that are available to musicians for creating businesses, particularly online businesses. And so after one of the presentations, one of the teachers there came up to me and said, "Hey, you've got to get in touch with two of my students who have started their own online music streaming business. And they're just in year 8 at the moment, up in Albury Wodonga, which is pretty much dead centre between Melbourne and Sydney here in Australia. So these boys are fantastic. They're great fun to talk to, and you cannot help but be inspired by their enthusiastic approach to everything that they're doing. So we talk about some of the businesses that they've run, because this isn't the first one. We talk about where they're at, some of the tech issues that they've been having, and some of the ways that we can help students like these guys in the future, even in our own studios or perhaps as our children. So I think you're going to really enjoy it. It's a slightly shorter interview, but really, really great fun. And as usual, the show notes for this episode will be at timtopham.com/episode 47. So thank you very much for listening. As usual, if you've got a spare couple of minutes and haven't yet left an iTunes review, I would very much appreciate it. Head to timtopham.com/iTunes. The instructions are all there. It's a very, very simple process and would be very, very much appreciated by me. So thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoyed today's episode about teen music entrepreneurs, Finlay and Tom. All right, Finlay and Tom, welcome to the show today.
Hi, Tim.
Hello.
Really, really good to have you on here. You are officially by far my youngest guest on the show. So we're going to learn a little bit about why I'm interviewing some students today. But I think maybe you should probably tell us, first off, how old are you guys? Whereabouts are you in the world, that is? And then we'll talk a little bit about why you're on the show today. Do you want to introduce yourselves?
Hi, I'm Finlay. I'm 13 years old and I'm from Albury Wodonga.
Hi, I'm Tom. I'm 13 years old and I'm from Albury Wodonga too.
Brilliant. And Albury Wodonga is in northern Victoria, right on the border of New South Wales, right?
Yeah, literally.
Yeah. Beautiful. Okay, cool. So you guys are on the podcast because I've very recently been going around the country giving some keynote speeches about entrepreneurship and especially helping students with businesses and things like that. So I want to talk a little bit about the business that you're running, because you've actually got some interesting press coverage recently on both TV and radio about the business that you guys have come up with together. So can you one of you guys tell us, what is the business that you started to run?
Well, it's basically a music sharing platform where people all around the world get to share their music, their own creations across the website for other people to listen to, download and comment on. It's a way of collaborations for improving music. People can comment. You can You can have chats with other artists over the website, and it's just going to be a quick, easy way to share music.
Yeah, so
it's
you guys...
quite similar to. It's quite similar to SoundCloud or Spotify.
Okay.
So the design and the functionality is pretty similar.
Yep.
So what are the main differences between? Because I was thinking about SoundCloud when you were talking about that, how you can comment as tracks are rolling, you can kind of put your comments in and that sort of thing. So what do you see as your main differences between SoundCloud or Spotify and what you guys are doing?
Well, we've got a premium plan, and SoundCloud also has a premium plan, but our premium plan is 5 times cheaper than SoundCloud's.
That's good.
Yeah, and there's probably more stuff that you can achieve out of it. Yeah, ours is ad-free, completely ad-free.
Even the free plans.
The only ads we will be putting on will be advertising new services we're announcing, and yeah.
Yeah, very cool. Are you guys music students yourselves?
Well, I play piano. I do 6th grade AMEB, and I also play cello.
Wow, okay. And what about you, Finlay? Do you learn an instrument as well?
I played the drums for 2 years, but I've put that on hold.
I'm impressed, Tom, that you're able to keep up AMEB grade 6 piano and cello and run a business and go to school. How does that work? How do you do that?
I don't know. It just happens. I guess like instead of all my free time doing like watching movies and stuff, I enjoy coding, defining one and everything, and then I do music practice, and it just all fits in like a puzzle.
That's pretty impressive. So you guys are in year 8, is that right?
Yeah. Yeah. In the same class at school.
Oh, cool. Okay, yeah. So is that how you met? Did you guys meet each other when you were at primary school or just at high school or what?
We actually met each other when we were maybe only 1 or 2 years old.
Yeah, parents knew each other and sort of, yeah.
Yeah, cool.
Yeah, and sort of started taking computers apart. It grew into more of a, we first started copying codes off the internet, and we grew to like computers a lot more, and then we started learning those codes, and it all just came to like learning all the different codes and then making them all work with each other. You can make a good website like Defining One.
Yeah. So you've mentioned Defining One. We should have said that so that our listeners would be able to know what it is. That's the name of your music streaming service. DEFANIONE, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So is that a website that's up right now, or is it still being built?
Being built, but we just haven't officially launched it. We're trying to
17th of July is when we launch it. Yeah.
17th of July.
We are thinking about extending that time because we still haven't built up a big enough fan base yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. We want to start with artists on the website, like good artists. We've got some local artists. But this time, we usually specialize in dance music and everything, but this time, Defining One is for any music genre. You can upload even classical music, and I think you'll probably get a few views.
Yeah. So why dance music? Is that something that you guys like listening to yourselves?
Yeah, and we produce dance music on the computer.
Yeah, on different programs. There's Logic and...
Do you use Live as
what else
well, Ableton?
Ableton Live, yeah. Studio One, Personas. Yep, all those programs. They're pretty good.
Very cool. So are we going to be able to hear your dance music up on your site? I would assume so.
Yes, it is. It's up there now.
Yeah, but we need to make sure that other people's music is on there so people understand it's not just for dance music, that is for all different types of music. We've got heavy metal on there at the moment by a band called DIFM. They're in Albury currently. They play at our commercial club, and yeah, it's just going to be good.
I love the fact that you guys are doing this. I think it's absolutely brilliant, and I wish you all the best with it. Let's talk a little bit about business in general. Is this your first business idea?
No.
Nah.
What have you done before?
Basically, we've done. We've sort of made. We started a there's been another main business we've done. That's Defining Recordings. Now, Defining Recordings was a record label, But the problem was, since we're sort of too young to sort of have all the legal contracts for that and everything, and the artists weren't exactly appreciating once they found out that it was run by 13-year-olds, that it was not like it was going good until then. But then we sort of defining one, people, it's a website, so like people understand it. It's sort of like not a, I don't know. Yeah, people just understand that it can be run at any age. It's a website, and that you don't need a lot of legal contracts with parents involved to run a website.
Yeah, well, I guess when you're working as a record label, you are entering into legally binding financial contracts with people. So that's quite different to just providing a service online, isn't it?
Yeah. We've launched. We're planning on launching another record label.
But this time, it's sort of maybe our parents are going to get involved in a lot of the signing under our names, and we sort of might be more successful. But defining one's definitely going to be successful. We can definitely see that. And
yeah, that's great. Yeah. So, how much of an impact do your parents have in what you do?
Huge impact, because they control the amount of computer usage and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it is negative and positive. I mean, our dads probably help a lot with like helping the business and appreciate that we are running the business. Whereas the mums are sort of get to bed early, make sure you're off the computer, make sure you tidy your bedroom. It's all that sort of stuff which holds you back a little bit. Well, that's my mum anyway. I'm not sure about the mates.
Well, I'm sure both sets of parents have got your best interests at heart, obviously, and they're trying to find some balance. I mean, I would be, concerned in some ways, I guess, as parents listening would be. How is my son going to perform at school properly when he's spending hours and hours coding at home every night, or not meeting up with his friends and things like that? So I think that's a legitimate concern.
That was sort of a thing about Defining One, Defining Recordings, is that the Defining One, once we launch it, it's all automated. So it's a website, it works by itself. People upload their own music, they can delete their music, they don't need us to help them. Whereas running a record label, you sort of got to be there for everyone all the time, because it's a business. Whereas Defining One, we can sort of leave that and let people enjoy that without our help very often. Yeah.
And you'll be able to just update it and add new features and things like that as you have time.
We'll update it regularly, but we just won't be on it 24/7, because it's not like, it's sort of, we've got to do schoolwork too, and it's an automated service, so it runs by itself.
Yep. So how did you actually come up with this idea? Did you want a place where you could upload your own music, or was like where was the need, or how did you find out this is a need?
Well, originally, when we had our record label, we were thinking about some of our artists, were struggling to have their music, heard. So we were thinking we could create another platform just for our artists on the record label, sort of like just a website for them. They could upload their music and everything. And we kind of got into everything, and then we decided, it's going to take us ages to do something like this. Why don't we just open it up to everyone and create a streaming service?
It sort of worked like that. It was because people like uploading their own music, they sort of like, it wouldn't help us grow very big. I guess we can sort of make that as a secondary option inside the website itself.
So how do you see it creating an income? This is always a big question with these websites, right?
Well, probably the biggest source of income will be the Pro plan. A lot of artists will probably buy that because it gives you unlimited storage and it's not very expensive. About $30 a year.
Okay.
Or $3.50 a month. There is I guess you do benefit from doing the yearly plan, but yeah, all our artists that go on there, if they join the record label, then we give them a free Pro plan, and so will the new artists on our new record label. They will get a free Pro plan.
Yeah, got it. And so what would you say to people who don't believe that young people can run businesses and it shouldn't be taken seriously?
Well, they can, and we're an example that young people can run businesses.
Yeah, definitely. I guess young people can run businesses. It has been heard before, but people just don't always believe that they can. We can, and we did. So it's going to work. Defining recordings was working. It just was our sort of age limit that was by there, but we haven't put that away. But just put that on the shelf for later. Once we hit adulthood, we can start that up again as a full-time thing.
Yeah, and there's absolutely no doubt that just as, you know, learning an instrument or whatever when you're younger, you know, by the time you are 18, you will have had so much experience in running businesses and how things work that I can only you know, begin to imagine how cool you guys are going to be when you actually have all this time when you finish school. Potentially, if you're still interested in it and working in it, you could go a really long way.
Yeah.
So how do you go about affording and paying for things like server storage and that sort of stuff? Because music streaming, you know, takes a fair bit of bandwidth and requires some storage. I'm assuming that costs a bit of money, right?
Yeah, well, at the moment, we've got a bit of a crowdfunding campaign going to pay for those expenses. So far, we've raised over $1,000, which has helped us the initial costs.
And it sort of like that helps us buy a service and what is it? Web hosting. So the servers are for different things. They're just for like hosting simple things, but for the website, we want to host it online. And then you've also got to buy things like copyright for the business, and it's sort of is expensive once it adds up. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, I know it all too well. The cost of server storage and that sort of thing, it does. And development. I mean, luckily you guys know coding, which I want to talk about in a second. But it's expensive to start these kind of operations up. So it's good. You seem to be what they call bootstrapping it, sort of just supporting it as you can and doing this crowdfunding. What's your crowdfunding website? Where do people go to have a look at that?
Oh, so it's gofundme.com/defining1.
Yeah, or you can, if you search Defining on the internet, one of the first hits is the GoFundMe campaign. We're trying to raise more than, how much is it?
$4,000.
Yeah, $4,000 to raise all the funds for everything,
Good.
And that should
Good on you.
going forever.
It's great.
And then
you're a quarter of the way there already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. Good on you, boys. That's great. Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about your school. I wonder if, do you go to a particularly progressive school in regard to helping students with entrepreneurial and business products, or is this just something you guys are doing on the side?
School hasn't particularly been supportive. They've got a good tech department and stuff there for that kind of support, but with the business side of things, no, they don't really offer anything. So we've had to kind of do this ourselves outside of school.
Yeah, sort of. I guess the school want to become more involved, but they don't exactly offer all the services. Still, the tech department and music department is really good, and the teachers definitely do help us with a lot of the coding, especially JavaScript, which is really helpful.
I was going to ask you, so are you coding this website from scratch, or are you building on a platform like WordPress?
We're building, we've got an API, and we've got like the actual physical, like the music player on the site. We didn't make all that sort of stuff. So we've got a license from developer, and
we built the design. We've also built a lot of extra features into the website, including like Facebook integration, and we have used, what else do we use? With chat system, and it all sort of it fits into everything, and it's all in the one website, which is really good and helpful.
And so if you want to do a Facebook integration and you're not learning coding in any formal capacity, how are you finding out how to do all this stuff?
A lot of trial and error and forums and
forums. You just search up what you want, and everyone's answer is there. There's usually about 5 different alternatives to each thing, and you just try each one of them, and one of them works in the end. Occasionally, one breaks your computer, but I guess you know how to.
You keep backups.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think I'm going to have to get you guys on to help with my tech issues sometimes.
Yeah.
So how well do you think schools, not just your school, but schools in general, let's prepare students like you for jobs in the tech kind of field these days?
They don't particularly provide, they need to provide it in more of a practical sense. It's just like, instead, all they provide is really like they don't really provide any practical knowledge. They teach you how to code and all that sort of stuff, but they don't really teach you anything else.
It's not really like that. When they're teaching you how to code, they're not showing you finished products. They're just showing you they don't show you what it should look like. They just expect you to be able to build something. They don't exactly have like certain goals to be able to achieve when you're coding. You don't know what you're trying to build. And there's certain platforms like Grok Learning and Code Academy. They're really good. They're online, and you sign up. The Academy is free. The Code Academy is free, and they have like all these different things. You got to build this, and then before that, it shows you how all the code should work, and then you got to build it yourself. That's sort of the thing we want to be able to sort of see in schools more often, like being able to know what you're building.
And also, like, they don't show a lot of like SEO kind of tools, which are very useful. So
what's SEO? You better just remind us what SEO is for those who don't know.
Search engine optimization. So how Google finds you and how to get up to top of Google, basically.
It's also, they don't show like online advertising, and sort of, if you're making an online business, they only show you how to I don't know, make the website. They don't exactly show you how to do anything else. It's going to get you the website, including all your licenses and everything, or FTPs. They don't do much of that. And it sort of helps if you know how to like buy domains and attach them and everything. We sort of had to work all that ourselves a few years ago when we built Defining Recordings.
Yeah, I have a feeling that you guys, if your school's even teaching coding, it sounds like it's potentially a bit of ahead of where most schools are at.
Yeah.
I guess they do teach coding, but there's a lot of codes they don't teach, like PHP. We need to learn how to do that to help our website, because our website basically runs on PHP, and to copy from the internet, you're never going to get anywhere if you don't actually learn it. And there's certain codes you need to know, like the SQLs and just everything.
So all these funny words for teachers who are listening and have no idea what we're talking about, these are all programming languages used to build websites online. So it's all the stuff going on in the background of all the websites that you see. These boys here actually know how actually that works. I know very basic PHP, CSS, and some of these languages, but not enough to be able to code in it. So I think it's an incredibly important skill. And interestingly enough, I was doing some research about coding and its teaching around Australia, and it's certainly not part of the regular curriculum, but there's a lot of coding camps, and as you mentioned, an online coding places to teach you these things. Certainly in Sydney, I know there's like summer camps for coding for kids and things. So there's definitely some opportunities, but it's, as you say, it's a shame it's not part of the regular curriculum, because as I've been saying in all my speeches about entrepreneurship and the future of business for students, it's going to be online. There's no doubt that online is where it's at. So we should be giving you guys the skills you need to not only build businesses, but market them online. That's my opinion.
Yeah, that's sort of what we meant, marketing online. And yeah, so the summer camps, we're sort of like thinking about or going to the extra coding camps. We just need to convince our parents. They'll let us go, but we sort of just need to find ones that are around our area. Albury's not exactly the best area to do coding camps because no one in Albury really likes coding, and we live far from Sydney and Melbourne, so sort of a bit more remote.
Yeah. These guys, for those not in Australia, these guys live almost halfway between Melbourne and Sydney, and that's a 10-hour drive more or less. So, yeah, you're it's a decent sized city, but perhaps not offering the kind of things that students in Sydney or Melbourne would get. I understand. So, what advice would you give to other kids who might come across this podcast and go, oh, I'd really love to try doing what these boys are doing? What advice would you have for them?
So if you want to start building your own website, all you need to do is just jump onto Code Academy and just do a basic course in HTML, and you'll be amazed. A lot of kids, when we tell them about doing websites and stuff, and they see what we're doing there, a lot of kids think it's quite boring, all the coding. But once you get into it, it's actually quite fun and enjoyable.
And we have proved them wrong when they've said it's boring, and then we sit them down and make them start coding, and they're actually like, oh, this is actually quite enjoyable. I can make something like it. But if you do want to start, I would recommend Grok Learning. It costs $30 for a year, but it's worth it. The HTML course and that got me to where it doesn't get you to where we're at now, but it sort of gets to you the mastering of CSS, which isn't that big, but it's sort of helpful if you know it all. And
was that
then
Rock as in R-O-C-K, Rock Learning?
Like Rock as in G-R-O-K. It's run by the Sydney University.
Rock, okay.
Yeah, it's actually run by Australia and University.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's the best thing that we as teachers can do to support students like you?
Just provide more resources and actually let you kind of experiment a bit more, I suppose, like we did. Because we didn't really enjoy the teachers telling us what to do. We kind of like to just jump in and build whatever we want to do, kind of thing.
Yeah, sort of like in class, I guess, yes, the computer assessments, we didn't get the best marks for them because in the meantime, we're trying to do coding that other kids weren't doing, and then we just whipped something up on Adobe Flash or Photoshop at the last minute, and we got pretty good marks. But if we were trying, I guess it would have been really boring after a while.
So like I'm going to go with this line for a second. What if you guys were in charge of a school? What would change about the way in which classes are taught, perhaps not just coding, but generally speaking, that would appeal to people like you that have this kind of, I want a business and I've got these ideas and I'm innovating and that sort of thing?
We'd want a very tech-savvy school. We'd want everything to be real, like, I don't know, like just everything is online, and I guess handwriting's important, but a school where everyone can just collaborate from one classroom to another, and it would just be so much more efficient to be able to just, like, I don't know, have chairs, tables that go under the floor and everything, like to make it just like a very tech-savvy school with laptops and touchscreen TVs and even holograms.
I like it. Of course, I mean, there's going to be always, I mean, you guys obviously have a passion for the online side of things. There's always going to be students who don't like that or don't get into it for whatever reason. But it sounds like you guys like an approach in teaching that is more collaborative, more group oriented. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. School, like, where everyone's sort of working together. When you work together in coding, it's the best time to work together because you're like sharing your codes to other people. And if you look at like other companies like Google and everyone's sharing all their codes, and together they make something amazing. And by yourself, you can do something collaboratively. you can get anywhere.
So what have you guys got any favorite books or podcasts or websites that you like to read about and spend time on to help you with your business ideas?
Well, we watch a lot of YouTube videos, like tutorials. Our favorite YouTuber, Linus Tech Tips. He's got a lot of cool tips about servers and hosting.
Who was that?
Yeah.
Linus Tech Tips.
How do you spell that?
He's a YouTuber. LINUS Tech Tips.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sounds like the kind of website I need.
I forgot one, but there's all these different, like when people make playlists, that's the most helpful because each day you sort of watch a new episode from a playlist on YouTube and then you sort of refresh your memory and you sort of keep going with the playlist. It's sort of a very long YouTube video with breaks in between, and it's helpful, like after you watch the whole video, you can sort of like copy what they're doing and then watch the next one sort of, and it helps like being able to know what topics the video's doing, and they work on it.
It's amazing how helpful YouTube is for anyone in any industry, I think, now. And I know a lot of the piano teachers watching will be nodding their heads going, yeah, YouTube, it's kind of bane of a lot of our existence because all of you guys go on YouTube and learn how to do these things that we used to teach you. So we've got to actually change the way that we teach in many ways.
Yeah.
So here's another question. Oh, go on. What are you going to say?
Oh, sorry, I'm waiting.
Okay. We were talking about parents before. Have you got any advice for parents of young people like you who are a little bit out of the box when it comes to what you're like spending your free time doing and the goals you've got for the future? Have you got any advice for parents about how they can help?
You need to sit down with your kids and actually let them kind of show you what they're doing instead of just yelling at them, telling them to, get off the computer.
Because they don't understand until once you've showed them. And even when you show them the coding you're doing, coding is not just for what like people who didn't do well at school do. Coding is literally learning another language. Coding and learning another language is scientifically proven to help students at school. So if you want to be good at school, if you want to do well, then don't get rid of coding because it's learning another language, literally, basically. And all the different codes, they're all sort of similar, but they all have their different unique things, which that's different languages, and remembering how each of them work is sort of helpful.
Yeah, it's really cool. I actually hadn't thought, I mean, we call them programming languages, but I actually hadn't thought about them in that way, that they're just like learning any other language. It's like music too. I mean, there's plenty of research about the importance of music. I didn't know that there was research out there about the importance of coding. So I'm going to have to do some digging and have a look for myself now.
Yeah.
What do other people at school think? What are your friends? Do they think you're a bit crazy, or are they like just don't understand?
Yeah, it's a mix of both. A lot of kids are like, "Oh, well done, you've got your own business," and a lot of other kids just think we're a bit weird,
Apparently, we're the nerds of year 8, but we don't care. Like, I mean, probably.
Yeah, because you'll be the next Bill Gates of your of your area. That's the thing. I'm sure those guys. Say that again.
It does get you. It gets you a lot out of classes and everything. You sort of get to do something unique to what everyone else is doing, I guess, and doing all the tech stuff at school. Sort of, I guess, like they pull you out of class to make a video. They pull you out of class to fix other computers, and that can be a helpful thing when you're stuck in a class that you really hate.
Like English, for example.
Let's hope Mrs. Haynes isn't listening.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to say, let's be nice to our teachers. Oh dear. I like your honesty, boys. It's really cool. It's refreshing. Do any other kids, in fact, do what you're doing at school? I didn't even ask that question.
Well, we have at lunch times and stuff. We've got a bit of a club happening. We call it Trinity Techies Club, and we go along. We pull apart computers, put them back together again, build computers, all that sort of
Improve
stuff.
them. The last computer broke, unfortunately. Its motherboard lived a happy 15 years until we accidentally... until we cut the power. Wait, not 15 years, it was probably around, it was a 2003, so it was 13.
Close, yeah. That's an old computer these days, right?
Yeah, it had no SATAs on it, so that's how old it was. Now,
you have to tell me what's a SATA?
I forgot what it stands for, but it's the newest connection to all the hard drives and CD drives and everything. And if you don't have a SATA in your motherboard now, all the new components for computers are useless.
Right.
Literally.
All right. A couple of last questions for you before I let you get off to your weekend. Mac or PC for you guys?
Mac.
Both.
He prefers both, but I'm Mac. I'm not a fan of Windows. Oh, Windows, I suppose, for gaming. I wouldn't game on a Mac. It's not built for that. But anything else, Mac. No Windows.
Finlay, do you realize that all your servers run a Windows server and you think it's the best server program in the world?
Well, in terms of servers and hosting, Windows is the way to go.
Okay, yeah. But for user experience, Mac.
Windows now.
Well, you guys have got to test that your system works on both platforms anyway, right?
It does.
Yeah, it does. There's a few issues we need to fix up with Chrome, but Safari, Firefox, Explorer, Internet Explorer, even Opera,
and Edge works.
Edge, the new Microsoft Edge, they all work. Chrome works half the time. There's a few login things that don't work in Chrome and a few problems with the players that we just need to fix up, but they should be done by the 17th of July.
All right.
And
I think you'll have to get Chrome working because that's pretty popular.
Yeah.
Brilliant. Well, it sounds like you guys have got some busy times ahead because 17th of July was July or June?
July. So July, it's just over.
So you got about a month. Yeah. Well, you're going to have some busy times. Quick last question. What's your favorite programming language, Tom?
Favorite?
Maybe ask Finlay while I think about it.
I suppose you could say, what?
You like HTML?
Yeah, I suppose I'll say HTML. It's pretty good.
I probably would go with, well, my favorite now is AppleScript because I started learning it yesterday and it's actually pretty fun. But probably the one I'm used to the most and familiar with the most is HTML and CSS.
Okay, cool.
Just those two. You sort of have to work with both of them in the same thing. Finlay like CSS too.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Well, and you guys, before we kind of wrap it up, have you guys got anything else that you want to kind of say, either about what you do or about, particularly about the education side of business and teaching young kids?
Well, I guess if you are as old as us and you're listening to this podcast,
contact us.
Contact
us,
yes,
and we'll give you a hand.
Contact us, we'll give you a hand. And go on Grok Learning, go on Code Academy, look at forums, start coding because it is possible and you can run your own business and
like us.
Yeah. Okay.
Good on you, boys. I love it.
Thanks.
I really love what you're doing, and I wish you all the best for the future. I'm going to keep in touch with you, and maybe get you on the podcast again in a few years to see how you've grown and what you've managed to achieve.
Thanks.
Thanks, Tim.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Really welcome. So, last thing, where can people find out about you? What's your website, or where should they go while you're still building it?
www.definingone.com, and they'll see an awesome coming soon page.
Which isn't funny.
It's on there. It's on there. The new one's on there.
The new one's on there?
It is on there.
And it works?
Yes.
Cool. There'll be an awesome coming soon page on there. Currently, you can't search us up on Google yet. We used to be on Google, but we have just changed domains and account holders for the Google Webmaster tool. So at the moment, we're just got to work our way up to Google again.
And we'd also appreciate if you're on Facebook, a like on Facebook, or a follower on Twitter.
Yeah, we're on all the social media sites you can think of. Yep. So thanks.
Good
That's
stuff.
all.
You're really welcome. Yeah, let me know when you're coming down to Melbourne next, all right?
Thanks. I thought you were in Sydney.
Guys. No, I'm in Melbourne. Definitely Melbourne. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Have a great day. Thanks again for being on the podcast.
Thanks. See ya.
See you,
Bye.
Yeah.
If the idea of a piano teachers community where you get to access the best educational resources, rub shoulders with expert teachers from around the world, and have immediate access to feedback for any of your questions, then InnerCircle membership is for you. The InnerCircle is my private community of piano teachers from across the globe who share a commitment to creating and delivering the most inspiring, modern and progressive learning experiences for their students. Membership is now open, so head to timtopham.com/community to find out more and get involved today. I can't wait to see you on the inside.